Welcome to the February W7PRA meeting. I'm Paul N0VLR, chair of the board, and we'll do some introductions. And I think we've got some new faces here tonight, so I think it would be good to spend a little minute and go around the room. I'll go with my alter ego, Paul, W7PEB first. He's left on the screen here.
Paul Branchfield, W7PEB from between Roseburg and Winston.
Okay. Thank you. Steve.
Steve, KW7F in Northwest Corvallis.
And Ron.
Yeah, Ron Post, AE4JL in the big town of Millersburg.
Now, Ron, we do have a special guest here who doesn't know what AE4JL stands for, so maybe you should enlighten her.
To me, it means amateur extra for just lucky.
There you go. Amateur extra for just lucky. All right.
I pass 20 words a minute somehow.
Very good.
And that's how long
Joanne.
I had my call.
Yes, me too. I'm coming up on the 30-year club. Actually, I've already passed the 30-year club. I just realized that. Okay. Joanne, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Joanne, and I found out about your group actually riding the train down from Portland. I'm originally from Astoria. I'm Army vet, and I spent a lot of time in Salem at my mom's house. And I went to the group here in Salem, and it just didn't fit my vibe. And so we talked about the group that was met online, and I was really looking forward to meeting everyone.
Good.
I guess we better be on best behavior.
Oh no, 14 years in the Army, it doesn't matter. And I spent a lot of time with hogs while I was in the service. So, KE7ICT, I originally went in as a novice, and then I let my license lapse. So I have a new call sign. So.
All right. And what's your new call sign?
Oh, the KE7ICT. I had a KB when I was in the Army. I had my license. So
nice. Well, welcome. And when we come around, we'll do a little bit of a roundtable later, and I'll see if there's anything that you're particularly interested in hearing about. How's that?
Sounds good.
Good. Annalise.
I'm Annalise McDermott, NH6Z, and I am in Lebanon. And I think as a former midshipman, I'm legally obligated to say go Navy beat Army. So just put that out there. So yeah, you can call me Anna if you like, but it seems like, we have another Anna now. So you can call me Annalise if you don't want to have any confusion.
Okay, thank you.
Right on. Thank you. Ted.
I'm Ted, W7RTM, club secretary, and former Marine. I guess I can say go Navy also. Outside of Philomath.
All right. Thank you, Ted. Larry.
Larry, I'm AF7NU in Northeast Corvallis.
Thank you, Larry. Anthony.
Anthony, KE7OSN out of Staten.
Thank you, Anthony. Andy, W7AAU.
Andy, W7AAU, southeast of Corvallis, and I'm an Army veteran and the club treasurer.
Thank you, Andy. Tyler.
WB7DD, Tyler Parsons in Southeast Corvallis.
Thank you, Tyler. And KK7RAG.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Pete. I live in Corvallis. Retired Merchant Marine. I now work in facilities at Lynn Benton Community College. When I was in the Merchant Marine, I worked in the engine room, so I didn't have a lot of practical hands-on experience with radios, but yeah, new to the game here.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Got a few new faces this time. Okay. Oh, I have some people move, so I got to go find you again. Okay, there we go. Anna G or Anna? What's
Anna is my first name. Anag is my username or my nickname. And it
Oh,
sounds
good.
more palindromic audio-wise because it's ah. So it might be easier to differentiate from Annalise.
Okay, very good. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Since we're saying military affiliation, I'm a Navy brat and an Army grand brat.
Okay. You must be very confused at the football game.
I don't do sports balls. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got a real pedigree, Paul.
Right. Thank you for joining us. Tom. Oh, yeah, I think you got a double mute going on. Try the other one.
How's that?
Oh, there we go. Your
There we
melodious
are.
voice has come through.
That's the problem when you've got multiple microphones hooked up to your computer. It's grabbing the wrong one.
You're not alone. You're the first and you're not the last.
I'm out of North Eugene.
Okay. Welcome. What brings you here? What did you take a class? Are you recently licensed?
Recently
or?
licensed, and W7 RTM is my dad.
Ah, okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
I'm very
Well,
sorry.
You knew that was coming. You just didn't know from who yet, right? Nice. Well, thanks for joining us. John.
John, K7JU, South Eugene. My dad was in the Seabees during World War II in the South Pacific. Solomon Islands, Guadalcanal, New Zealand, some of those other islands out there.
Fun places to be.
Well, that's interesting, John. My dad was at Pearl Harbor, actually Hickam Air Force Base, when the Japanese attacked, and his next happy station was Guadalcanal.
Interesting. So they might have crossed paths.
Might have. I grew up in the Air Force, so I'm also an Air Force brat.
Well, my dad has a brother, he's an uncle of mine, who was at he was at Pearl Harbor during that attack too. And he was in kind of military intelligence. He'd had some word that was going to happen. He tried to tell his supervisors about it, but they wouldn't pay much attention. And it was getting close. He went and stormed into the commander's office, insisting, and then they put him in the brig, and that saved his life.
Oh, yeah, my dad was in the 5th Heavy Bomber Group.
Is that right?
B-17s.
So he went on, and his whole career then was in the CIA. He retired as a colonel in the CIA. He spent time in Vietnam and France, a whole bunch of other places.
Wow, look at the military component tonight. Thank you all for your service or for your family's service. I do appreciate it.
I was not in the military. I was in the Peace Corps instead in Ecuador for five years. For 5 years working with electric utility work. Helping bring
Well,
electricity.
that's still service. So thank you, John.
Yeah.
Very much.
So Scott, our esteemed trainer for this evening, educator, Professor Scott.
Well, after tonight, I don't think you'll have that kind of an opinion of me, but anyway.
Okay.
So
right.
I think almost everybody here knows me except for a few. I'm KK7, KF7 Eugene. I keep on saying KK7 these days because we got so many new KK7s, right? And you
don't know how to do it unless it's on a key. I mean, is that where you're at now?
No, I just have to keep my head straight. So I'm in Corvallis as well, and so Anna G over there, I had met on Saturday at Rick Rail. So and actually we're expecting somebody else from Rick Rail to log in on this meeting as well, but I don't think he was able to do it. So, which is too bad. He's an interesting person. Anyway, so I encourage her and others to log in for the first time to see what our meeting is like. Energy's down in Eugene, so
Now, Scott and I used to be about 500 feet apart. Now we're about over a quarter of a mile, and neither of us have moved.
Because they stopped the. Are you talking, Steve? Are you saying because the path that was in between us is now blocked?
They
Yes,
closed
we have
the
to walk all the way
ATC.
around.
Yeah.
That's true. But as the crow flies, he lives about 100 feet from me.
I can always tell when Scott's on the air.
Sure.
It dims my lights.
Oh, he's the guy with a kilowatt, station, and I'm here with maybe QRP. If I'm lucky.
Life's too short for QRP.
No, I know.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Let's go to Tyler. Tyler, can you hear us? I think he froze. Oh, no, there he is. Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Tyler, did you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry. Tyler Parsons, WB7DD, Southeast Corvallis. I'm a retired land surveyor and was in the military before that.
Thank you, Tyler. Good to see you. And Jeff, welcome.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're fine, sir.
Great. Okay. Do I go?
Yeah, so introduce yourself and maybe where you're from. Yep.
Yeah, I'm over in Lebanon right now. Home QTH has been Beaverton for a long time, but it's going to be Lebanon here pretty quick. And I've moved all my shack into house here. But I met Scott at the very end of Rickreall and had a very, let's just say, enlightening conversation with him and a young gal from Eugene. And Scott had mentioned the club. So I'm retired microwave engineer. I design chips for Wi-Fi, cell phone, that kind of stuff. So, double E by nature, but very heavy on the RF side. But I do pretty much strictly homebrew. So I've got stuff, from 80 through 10 meters sideband CW, and going to be on 6 and 2 here before the end of the month. And so my focus is circuit design. But
beautiful. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. We've got a few other folks here in Lebanon, myself and Annalise in the area. So that's where I'm currently residing.
Okay.
And so you're in. Yeah, you've got some Lynn County folks here.
Yeah. So what's your call?
November Hotel 6 Zulu.
What is it?
November Hotel 6 Zulu.
Okay, don't know if I've heard that one. There's somebody on Lebanon that I've heard in some of the contests.
Yeah, I've been in a few contests. I don't get to a lot of them. So my not so secret is that my day job is as a software engineer for Flex Radio Systems. So I make ham radios for a living, essentially. So there's a lot of days when I get off of work and then look at my radios and think that there's nothing that I would rather not be doing than looking at HF radios anymore. So, somewhat working in the hobby has ruined the hobby a little bit for me. But
I totally get that. I mean, after I was designing stuff all day, and a lot of nights it was just like last thing I wanted to do was sit down and do more.
There is a group in Lebanon, small group in Lebanon that meets every Thursday at the Apple Tree and right along Highway 20 there. It's just an informal lunch there. Kind of a group that's associated with Lebanon Community Hospital. Everybody's volunteers there in case something bad happens around here. So there's a Thursday lunch and then a monthly meeting, but the Thursday lunch is really loose. It's right around noon on Thursdays. So for anybody that's in the Lebanon area and has the time, then they're more than welcome.
Okay.
Great. Well, we've made it all the way around, and I thought I'm going to go a little off script. So since we've got few new faces here, I thought we could go around and I'll just kind of go roundtable with. We'll start with Pete, and I'm just going to say, welcome to the hobby. It's been great for me for 30 years. Others have been in just as long, if or maybe less, maybe more. But it's always good to know, what is it that maybe drew you to the hobby, or what do you have interest in it? What would you like to learn that you haven't learned yet? And then we can maybe come back to you with some information that will help you, get more excited about it.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. Even when I was working on some of the ships, I did get to operate them from time to time. Yeah, I have purchased a radio a while ago. Just need to get set up with some antennas. Scott's helped me out with a little bit of the design on those, and it's really just trying to make the time to get rolling here. Just like everyone else, life gets in the way, things get busy. Yeah, just gonna keep trying to plug along and make some progress.
Okay, great. I'll put in a cheap plug for, there is a reflector for an email reflector for the club. I'll put it in the chat as to who to send an email to if you'd like to be on it. It's not a lot of chatter, so you're not going to get like 50 emails a day or anything like that. You might get 1 or 2 a week on a high week. It's usually informative, what's coming up. Maybe there's something of interest, maybe reminders for the club, things like that. So Mike, who's not here today, will manage the email list. We do it manually. We don't do like go to this website and subscribe, unsubscribe. It's very manually done. Anthony, am I speaking correctly when I say that? Is that still the way it's done?
It is, yep.
Okay, great. All right, let's go to, thank you, Pete. Let's go to Joanne, and maybe you could, same question.
What brought me to it, or what started my interest?
All of it. Yes, what brought you to it? It's always interesting.
Well, I when I was in the Army, I worked kind of in the intel field, and I worked with Morse code people on a regular basis. And so we did a refresher course one time, and it was Morse code people and my job, which was like an analyst. And our instructor was ham radio instructor qualified. So everyone came out of the class with a ham radio license.
Awesome.
So, and that was back in 87 when I first got mine. So my first love is like code, Morse code. And I've been away from it for a long time. I want to get back into it. I want to get a key. I want to, get back in the practicing, the speeds and stuff like that. So that's my love of it, and then I lost my license for a while, and now I got it back. But I've always just loved that pure aspect of it. And growing up in a rural area, it's important. And then I was out in Jewell during the flood in 07, and the only communication out of that area into town was Morse code at the sheriff's substation. So,
wow.
So it's like raise Aries, it's like all the emergency, communications and stuff like that is really interesting to me. And eventually even through like a volunteer aspect of it. So that's kind of, and I've been away from it. So I'm getting a shack put back together. I'm learning about some of the new stuff, that's technology's changed, since way back then. And so I'm just kind of re-jumping into something I've really enjoyed. So.
Oh, excellent. Well, welcome back. There you go. That actually predates my license, actually. Wow. I think 91, 92 is when I joined. 90, 91, somewhere in that range. It was still paper, what do you call them? The call sign books were still paper back then.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us, Joanne, and I wish you well on your journey. And again, I'll mention the email reflector when you're looking for something, or maybe just, hey, I'd like to get together and do something put it out there and see if there's somebody who's got some similar interest or availability and see where it goes.
And I'm retired, so I have time. So.
Okay, great.
Well, so Joanne, just to know, since I'm also in Lebanon, I have a pretty large inventory of everything. So wire, cable, connectors, parts, whatever. So if you're putting something together, and you're stuck or you can't find something, ping me because I might have it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I also tend to have a large stash of stuff, so
yes, you do.
Yeah.
You might find me going.
Yeah. I'm sure my wife would love it if you took some of that stash of stuff away from my house, but it is what it is.
Sounds really good.
And the truth comes out. Awesome. Well, this is great. This is why we're here, to support each other, and lift each other up when we're trying to learn something new or connect each other with someone who's maybe walked the path before, or want to just try some new things, whether it's Parks on the Air or Field Day or new equipment or whatever it is. So
anything
okay,
and
thank you, Corinne. Oh wow. Okay. Well, there's a lot there. So we'll keep an eye on activities that are coming up. Let's
Just
go
learn
to
Parks on the Air from Ron and not me. I'm not a good example for Parks on the Air, so Ron is a much better guy for that.
Yeah. We'll what we'll do is maybe we'll do after we get all our newcomers, we'll do a little roundtable with anybody that wants to maybe respond to one of the newcomers with some opportunities or additional offers. Great. Let's go to let's see, is he still here? There's Tom. Tom, how about we go over to you?
So the last couple of years I've found myself out in the backcountry a couple of times and just kind of wondering, what are my options? So this sounded like put something together, and can I bring it with me backpacking, or can I bring it with me on a work trip and get some communication out, maybe play around on a break time. And I've looked in a POTA a little bit. I'm just playing.
Good. Awesome. Well, I'll have something to say about our repeater system later. But welcome. And yes, and Ted, you brought one into the fold. Good job.
Many years ago.
All right. Welcome, Tom. Anna, AI7BN from Eugene.
Yep. I want to try and get into CW.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned a little bit, not like head copy or like actually sending yet though, because I don't have a transmitting setup, although I did at Rick Riel get a straight key, so I'm excited about that. I'm also probably interested in emergency preparedness, which is how I got into this. I took a CERT class and they said, if you really want to be prepared, make sure you can communicate with your neighbors and communicate outside your neighborhood, and don't count on your cell phone or the internet for that. So I went ahead and got licensed.
Very good advice.
Excellent advice. And I'm sure somebody might perk up and mention something, maybe Anthony or others who are affiliated with emergency communication or ARES, and give you some great tips there. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining, Anna. And how long have you been licensed now?
Since 2019.
Okay. Very good.
I'm not very active. I don't really like being acknowledged.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Jeff, microwave enthusiast, a little bit of an introduction already, but how long you been in the hobby and Is there anything is there anything you haven't done yet that you'd like to try?
Oh, yeah. So I got my novice back in '69, and what was it? And then if you know got my general within that 2 year time limit that they had back then. But not to sound too old, but that was back when we actually had real exams. You know, like essays, like there'd be 2 or 3 sentences at the top about draw a grounded grid, blah, 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 such and such, whatever amplifier thing. And that counted just as much as a multiple choice question, although there was almost none of those. But was it I mean, I haven't chased the microwave end of it from a hobby standpoint, simply because that's what I'd been doing my whole adult life on the job. And one of the things about what I don't like about microwave is for prototyping. Once the highest I was able to prototype, you know, in my lab at work was up at GPS at 1575 or I think 1575. And when I was doing Wi-Fi development, the prototype techniques just flat out don't work. You've got to have a dedicated circuit board. Just the strays and all that associated with any kind of wiring becomes more than tedious. Tiny tweezers under a microscope, and then things always break. You just pull on something wrong, you know. But whereas what I like about, you know, sticking to 432 and below is that you can do it all with a pair of wire cutters and some needle nose pliers, and dimensions have a lot of flexibility there. But what was it? So so my goal is I want to have 160 meters through 1296 sideband CW, and I'm halfway there. You know, I mean, I don't see the higher bands being an obstacle. It's just, you know, there's always something else pulling me in the shack, you know. So I have too many unfinished projects.
Yep. Well, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So since we all gathered, I think we have one more person joining us, Joe. We got a few additional new members here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, sorry for no video. I beat myself up today. I don't want to go into it, but it's not a good day to be on video.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
Hey.
Yeah, basically, don't pass out, and I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I got very familiar with the ER today. Hi, Joe, Monteleone, K7BIK. I got into ham radio back in 2007 because my other half wanted to move from being a participant in Cycle Oregon to a volunteer. And long story short, we've been doing SAG for years, but she didn't want to drive their 15-passenger SAG. So she goes, hey, I want to be a radio operator. How does that work? And the short version is long circuitous path, Cycle Oregon's political. We've been involved with it ever since. And I said, hey, I've always been interested in that since I played with 11 meters as a kid. And so got my tech, got my general, eventually got my extra. A lot of stuff with Benton County and Aries, a lot of stuff with Cycle Oregon, Valley Radio Club, Peak Radio. And until the last couple of years, wasn't very active. And I heard you guys mention Parks on the Air. I'm kind of a closet hunter. So I'm gradually hunting more people. And I've activated, I went to Recreal Saturday. For me, it was a social fest. I think I bought like almost nothing compared to usual because I was talking the whole time. Imagine that, hams talking to each other. And Maria and I went off to Basket Slough Wildlife Refuge. She was going to just drop me off and go up there and take pictures. But as those who went to Recreal noticed, it was kind of foggy in the morning, bad for pictures. So she hung out, had breakfast, and then we went up to Basket Slough. And so while she went off capturing wildlife, I activated the park on 6 watts, and it was a struggle, but I got my 10 and was able to activate it, so it was fun.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. Sorry to hear you spent time in the ER.
Yeah, it's like anybody who's ever done it, it's a long day.
All right, so I'm going to let's see, is there anybody who wants to add anything to, especially to add to the new members, any quick advice? Maybe just anything that came up that sounds interesting you'd like to maybe support?
Well, hang in there. I was first licensed in March of 1959, and I've been licensed continuously ever since. So in about, I don't know, a few weeks, I will hit my 66th anniversary of being a ham radio operator. Many call signs, because I was still living on an Air Force base, and when your dad moves to outside of your call area, you had to get a new call sign.
Right, right.
Yeah, so yeah, I have a number of those. I was first licensed with both. I got both my things were different then. I got both my novice and my technician at the same time because I usually passed the theory part for the general, but I didn't pass. Five words a minute was a struggle. And about 2 months later, I made it up to 13 and got my general, but and that was the last time I did any code. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
I admire you, by the way, about that.
I don't. If you're interested in making beeps with your radio, that's your deal. And, everybody has their thing. But yeah, that's not me. If you would like to learn about modern radio technology and software-defined radios and things like that, then I work in that as a job and know quite a bit about in lay terms about DSP and SDR and how it's all put together and how the software works and things like that. And you can ask anybody here. I am more than happy to share my knowledge, usually to enough that you have to tell me to shut up after a while. So yeah, if you're at all interested in software-defined radio and how we use software in almost all modern radios now to go and do that, even the big manufacturers now are going to direct sample software defined receivers rather than older hardware-based models. So, yeah.
Well, an awful lot of the modern spectrum analyzers for a long time now have been dominated by DSP and SDR. I mean, that's really what they are. There's a little bit of hardware on the front end, not much after that.
That's what an IC 7300 or the new FTDX10 or, the radio that you really should get, which is a Flex Radio 6600 or 8600 now. That's all they work. There's basically only an LNA between and a reconstruction filter between the antenna and the ADC. So it's all done digitally after that.
And if you can't afford that, get a Hermes Light 2, which is my most recent project. It works remarkably well.
Yeah.
What's a Hermes? I've heard guys on the radio talk about it. One of my buddies has one. What's a price tag on one of those these days?
Well, there's multiple pieces. You can get pretty much everything with all the extra options for about $400, but you don't have to go in at that level. I use that. I have a homebrew kilowatt amp. It's a solid state amp, and I take the 5 watts out of the HL2 and feed that into my amp. So I get about, depending on the band, 100 to 300 watts out because I feed it right into. I've got this attenuator so that I can feed the amp with 100 watts. But I never bothered going around that for this. So it gets attenuated a lot, but still, it works really well.
I have one of the first 12 Hermes heavies, so that ever existed. And some of my code, FPGA code, is in the FPGA for OpenHPSDR Mercury.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I have an Anon 100 that also.
Yeah. I could talk a lot about how angry I am at Anon, but that's another story.
But tell you, pure signal works really well, and the Hermes Light 2 has pure signal.
Yep.
And my amp, when I built that, I have a input for pure signal, and it's pretty slick.
For those that don't know, pure signal is an implementation of adaptive pre-distortion. So your amplifier Your amplifier transistors are not linear, so when you put in 1 watt, you'd like to get like 10 out, right? And then you put in, 2 watts, you expect to get 4, right? A doubling or whatever. But it's not, your transistors aren't linear, so there's a droop at the top side of it. And what adaptive pre-distortion does is it figures out what the curve of your transistors are, so it knows what the droop is, and it will actually correct the signal going into the transistors in order to correct for that non-linearity of your final transistors. So it's actually, you can shave tens of dB off of your IMDB, your distortion on your amplifier.
Interesting. Okay.
So the Open HPSDR project has had it for quite a while. Flex will be releasing it in our next software release for Flex Radio Systems.
I will take myself, I will leave my library here and where are we? Well, maybe I won't. Anyway, I will show you what the HL2 looks like. And no, that's not going to work. Well, forget that, but
if you like experimenting with stuff, Jeff, the Hermes Lite and the Open HPSDR stuff is really great because everything is open source, so including all the hardware designs and things like that, so that you can modify it and build it yourself as a commercial sort of radio project.
Yeah, there's very little soldering involved with building the HL2, the Hermes Lite 2 kit. It comes in modules, and you have to, essentially connect them all up, and it's a pretty easy kit to do. And with Thetis, which is the latest HPSDR, it works very well. It also works with SDR console, which in some ways I like better than Thetis, but.
Okay. Because one of my agendas that I'd like to maybe have some space dedicated in my shack so that I could just have a waterfall that I could go and look at a glance, and instead of just having to manually go check the bands. And I know that these SDRs can do that.
Yep.
So
great, good roundtable, everybody. Anybody else got a last comment or something before we kind of go into some other areas here?
Okay, I got you now.
Oh, there's Steve.
Yeah,
okay.
There is, let's see. This mirror image thing I should, makes it a little complicated. Okay. This is the Hermes Lite 2. It's a tiny little thing. There's my homebrew amp in the background, and it's a lot bigger, and here's my Anon, and there's my FT990. And anyway, enough of that.
Thank you, Steve. And Anna and everybody else that contributed. When Scott goes into his topic, I'll go ahead and find the right email with the right lingo to, if anybody wants to join the W7PRA reflector. Mike, who handles it, is out of the country, so you won't get a response from him for a little bit. But have no fear, when he comes back, he'll handle it. So just, don't think that it's that you've been forgotten. He's just out of town. Okay. Scott, you have a topic for us tonight? You want to do that, or do you want me to go into the business portion and then take it over from there?
Well, I do have a topic. It really won't take that long. Paul, if you prefer to go into the business stuff now, I could do the topic afterwards. Because it might be a little anticlimactic to talk about the topic now and then go into business.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do business really quick. I think I'm looking at what's on here, and unless other people have something to add to it, I think it's going to go pretty quick. So, Secretary's report. Ted?
So I sent the minutes out for last January, last Wednesday. I haven't heard anything back, so I'm assuming that everybody's been happy with it. At least those that are on the reflector.
Right. Thank you, Ted. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I've really got nothing more. I was just going to use my usual, if there's any updates, additions, deletions, please let me know. W7RTM@ARRL.net.
Yep. Thank you, Ted. Yeah, sorry, I had a internet blip and it's back now. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Andy.
Andy, W7AAU. Our Treasury's report for February 14th, 2025. Our total assets, cash, is $4,045.63. Most of it contained in our checking and savings account. And does anyone have any information about a possible 7QP operation this spring?
You know, Mike is usually the one that will bring that up. And I don't know if you can all see my screen. Oh, it's the wrong screen. How about this one? So there's all the details on the finances that Andy went through. Any questions or?
You lost it, Paul. Now you're on something else.
Yeah.
You're in some folders.
You had it for a few minutes or a few seconds.
How about that?
There you go.
All right, good, because the controls are on the other screen and it's very confusing. So, all right, so thank you, Andy, for this. There's all the details. We like to have transparency here, so there's all the details that add up to the total that Andy already mentioned. So thank you very much, Andy.
And for those that are interested, all of that information is in the meeting minutes.
Yes. All right. Ron, our webmaster, do you have anything to add to our webmastery today?
Well, you know, www.peakradio.org has been up and running. We do have recordings of all of our past meetings for 3 or 4 years at least out there. I don't know. I don't remember how far back we go, including the educational series. There's some great stuff. If you're new to the club, to go back and see some of the things we've talked about, from antennas to radios, SWRs to the nano VNAs, just all type of topics. A great source. And then while I got it, I'm going to talk about POTA for just a moment. That there are some new parks in the area, or new parks that's been recognized and set up on POTA, like the Roaring River State Fish Hatchery, not too far outside of Lebanon. So a lot of opportunity, and yeah, if you ever need help with POTA, I can definitely help.
Hey, Ron.
Right.
Hey, question, Ron.
Yeah.
So who's the ham out of Forest Grove who's trying to activate everything? I've gotten him on ground wave twice.
At a Forest Grove.
I've forgotten his call. I can go back and dig in my log, but there's a guy out of Forest Grove. He's doing the Rove thing through, and he was at Roaring River. But, you know, I've gotten him at Alsea Falls on ground wave and somewhere else on ground wave. I got somebody else out of Basket Slough. Actually, that's why I thought of activating it on ground wave. So
Roaring River, it could be Nick. What is it? NT3S and N3. I can't even think of his call right now. I just talked to him earlier today, but NT3S. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's definitely a lot of POTA people, just for those that might be interested, and it's a great way to get your feet wet on HF. Or I've activated on VHF too, and just spotted on the repeater and said, "Hey, I'm over here on Simplex or SSB," and so there's a lot of fun stuff. If you're just looking to play a little bit, you don't have to put a lot of time into it in the Valley. People will come back.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Joe. And so for those of you interested in the repeater network, I'll repeater report. I'm going to put it here. There is a Facebook group called W7PRA. The repeater group is run hardware wise and maintained by Chris AB7BS. He's done an absolute stunning job of connecting repeaters together. I don't ask me how the backbone works because that's a long conversation. But there are 49 repeaters all connected together. And if you want, you can go to this group, or you can go to our website that I posted earlier, and there's a link to get to the repeater listing. And you know, just plug away for those who might be out in the weeds and the dingles who want to have a radio to connect and talk to somebody on 2 meter 440. And you'd have to join that group. I think you just name and call sign, and then Chris, when he has a minute, he'll validate you, and then you're on the group. And then there's very little communication on that too. He just posts updates on the status of the repeaters and if they're up and they're operating or repaired or something like that, or some really cool pictures of snowcats going up to repeater sites in the middle of winter, things like that. Somebody asked a question about 7QP. So Mike is usually the one that kind of chairs that. He usually starts in March, and then we talk about it in April, and then we execute in May. And so 7QP, there's another link on our website. Ron, I'm giving you all kinds of like sales here.
What is 7QP?
So 7QP is the 7th area district call area, excuse me, QSO party.
QSO party. Okay. No, I know what that is. All right.
Yep. And so for those who have not heard of it before, 8 states, Anna, is it 8 states that get involved? I think.
No, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 states.
Plus, it's the same weekend. It's the same weekend as the New England QSO party and the Indiana QSO party. So there are lots and lots of folks on the air. And for those that don't know, because of the rules, if you are within 500 feet of a county line, then you count for 2 QSOs for every one from each county that you are near. So we do an expedition where we go to a snow park in the Ochocos that is near the Kirk and Wheeler County line, and we operate there portable. It's it's pretty involved. I would dare say our 7QP operation is more involved than our field day operation, but
really?
We've got travel trailers out there. I have a hex beam that's on top of a 27-foot tripod, and I bring my power amplifier out there, so we have 750 watts out of that. What I'm trying to remember, we won Oregon, both of our counties and our class last time around. So yeah, we get pretty serious about it, and it's a lot of fun to go up into the woods and hang out for a weekend and do completely portable radio stuff. And if you want to learn about how stuff goes up and comes down, and it's actually a good chance to learn about how everything gets put together to do an operation, as well as how to get 5 relatively high power transmitters, 5 or 6 relatively high power transmitters all working at the same time within a 500-foot circle. So I have a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to it again this year. So
me too.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Paul.
I'm hoping to return again. It's been a while, and I might have Maria linked in. So we had fun the first time to come back, and I think I might have talked Don and Betsy into coming back. So
okay.
Well, I should have at least 4 Flex radios there this year, so I've gotten another radio since last year.
Okay, so that means we just need to leave our gear at home and come help you set up.
Sure. I always offer to bring radios for people that would like to borrow them. So, yeah. Please leave your FT817s at home. Please leave your IC7000s at home.
I like my 818. It's going to be useless that weekend though. What was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, you guys didn't talk about the food thing. For those that, want to play a little radio and a lot of foodie, there's a role for everybody.
There is a warming shelter at the snow park that we gained permission from the Forest Service to occupy for the weekend. So even though a lot of us will have travel trailers or something like that where our operating positions are in, we also have group meals and things like that at the warming hut. So, and some people actually also operate out of the warming hut too that don't have a travel trailer or something like that to operate out of. So it is generally a really good time. I don't know if Ron has pictures of some of the years. If you do choose to go, know that it can get rugged sometimes. The past 2 years, we have arrived and there's been nothing on the ground. And the day that we've left, we've gotten snowed a foot of snow on us. So not a small amount of snow that we've had to deal with. Scott got stuck in his Jeep last year and we had to yank him out. So yeah, it can get a little rugged up there because it's always the first weekend in May. And this year will be earlier than usual because of the date that it falls on. So we usually leave on a Thursday. Everybody meets up there and we caravan from the valley over. And then we'll leave. We tear down and leave on Sunday.
And there are pictures on our website.
Yep. And I just posted the link on the chat window. For those of you who are familiar with Zoom and chat, you can open up the chat window and see things that I'm posting there. Like the website, the group for Facebook. There's a couple other people that posted some pictures. Thank you. And so welcome to the new members. And for those of you who don't want to make it all the way over to Prineville to see this, you can wait for field day and see it a little bit closer to home in the Corvallis area. We usually host field day. It's a little bit more relaxed. It's less competitive, just more of a, get on the air and in a more leisurely environment. But stay tuned for that. And that's always the fourth weekend in June, if I'm remembering right. So, okay.
And I'm planning another POTA weekend in September too. So we got activities planned. Yep.
Yep. And then we usually do a picnic and POTA, something that we invented here. A little cute little name on, we like to eat and we like to play radio. So we do them both at the same time. We rent out a state park, or I don't know where we're going to go this year, but we got time to figure that out.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Is anybody, Anthony or Scott or anybody have any upcoming events that we want to toss out there to let some of the new members know about?
So if anybody's looking for a technician class, so if you know anybody that's looking to get licensed, Benton County Aries has one scheduled for May 16th through 18th. And the class is taught by Scott, who has had a fantastic track record on student success. And as of right now, we already have four people signed up to take the test. So it's the format is a Saturday or Friday evening and Saturday day for the lecture, and then the exam follows on Sunday. And the exam is open for all three classes. So if anybody's looking to upgrade, you're welcome to do that. And we do our testing through the Laurel VEC, so the exam fee is $0.00. So it's quick and easy to get in and take the test. And we are also tracking interest in general and or extra classes. So if you're looking for any of that, bcares.org/classes.
Why don't you put that in the chat window there, Anthony, and that'll be a good place to everybody can just copy and paste and go from there. Thank you. Anybody else have anything else to mention about any upcoming events?
Well, it's getting to be convention season now, so the Dayton Hamvention will be in the middle of May. So that's coming up for people that want to go to Ohio. I'll be there. If from more locally, CPAC, which is in Seaside, Oregon, is always the first weekend in June. That's always a really good conference to learn things and see new stuff there, and also have some commercial booths available. I'm mentioning it now because this is kind of the time of year that if you're going to stay overnight, you ought to think about getting your accommodations out there, whether it be a hotel or an RV spot or whatever, because they tend to fill up that weekend. So yeah, that's always a really good show to go to. It's kind of Rick Rial is much more centered around the flea market. CPAC is much more of a conference where there are a bunch of talk tracks on Saturday and that you can go to and learn new things and see presentations and things like that, in addition to a flea market and a lot of commercial vendors, including us and ICOM and Elecraft are usually there, and some of the big antenna folks and stuff like that. So you can see some new commercial products as well.
Thank you.
I'm scheduled right now. It looks like, unless I'm working with the main ARRL guy for CPAC, I'll be doing 2 different sessions on Saturday afternoon, one on homebrew crystal filters, design and strategies, and then homebrew logistics.
That's excellent, Jeff. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I did back in 2009, I did the crystal filter one, and it just packed. I mean, they literally had to physically remove people. There was just so much interest, and I didn't really expect that. I mean, the room wasn't big enough for how many people wanted to attend, you know.
That's great. And it's great that we're all sharing what we know, and no. Excellent. Okay. Last call for anybody else who wants to share something, and then we'll hand it over to Scott for our educational portion.
Paul, I wanted to share something, and I guess I can sort of blend it into the presentation a little bit. I mean, it has nothing to do with the presentation, but I just want to give a shout out to a particular new ham. Did we mention Ethan KK7UX5 before in a previous meeting? I just was wondering. Anyway, he's so I don't know. Maybe I should share my screen just for a second here. And see, can you guys see my screen? QRZ page up.
Yep.
Yes.
So this is Ethan Looney. I don't funny last name, but anyway, he's not that. So KK7UX5, he got his tech back in August. He's 15, just so you know, and so in 6 months, I mean, he's done more with ham radio, and he doesn't just have his tech anymore. He went ahead and I started my general class in November. He attended the first session, and then the second session he came back with his dad, and he said, "I'm no longer taking the class because I already got my general." And I said, "How'd you do that?" And he said, "Oh, I just studied a bunch of online practice tests, and I did the tests online, and I got it." So he got his general like a couple months after the tech. And I think he's done more with ham radio in like 6 months than most hams would do in 10 years. And this guy's unbelievable. He's so enthusiastic. So I put this his QRZ page up. So there's no picture of him, but let me see. You can see like all his interests here. And I think he's got 150 DXCC countries already. So I just want to put a shout out because what he did very recently is he started a club for youth for the state of Oregon. He calls it the Oregon, I can't remember the full name, but something like Youth Amateurs. And he got a club call sign, I think it's KK7YOA for Youth on the Air. And he's really trying to push young people into the hobby. So the only requirement to get into the club, his club, is to be under the age of 26 or 26 and under and have a ham license. And that's it. And so he's trying to, so if anybody knows any young hams under the age of 26, let them know. We can, he really wants to get as many people as possible, particularly in the state of Oregon, but of course it doesn't have to be just in Oregon. So he just is really getting into, and he's also big on Parks on the Air now. So you can see there, he's got he's made 92 QSOs and contacted 79 parks. I gave him we started his station here. I think we got a picture. So there's that ICOM 7300 over here on the right, which we lent him from Elsie. And he's got his own little VHF, UHF radio there as well. So, and headphones and stuff like that also through us, and an antenna. So he's doing all that, but he also goes on these remote stations around the world. Because he's a member of Youth on the Air, YOTA, the YOTA, and they have access to for free. They can do remote hamming. So he goes he logs into all these different flex radios in different parts of the world, and he can make all sorts of QSOs from those locations using, a lot of times they have a kilowatt, amplifier, and, some sort of a big beam antenna at their disposal. So he's taking advantage of that. So the guy is, I don't know how many QSOs he's made, probably 1,000 by now or something, maybe more than that. So I just want to give him a shout out, because I'm sure you'll be hearing his name. Just if you ever hear of Ethan around here, that's who it is. Okay, KK7UXY. So he's just a kind of a whirlwind. And of course, he's only 15, and that may, his enthusiasm may not wane, but his ability to do this stuff may wane a little bit, because, as we all know, life happens. He's in school, and when he goes to college, his time for this stuff may not really be there, but right now it is. So he's really kind of taken the ham world by storm around here. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out. And
thank you, Scott. That's great. That's wonderful news.
Yeah. So just so you know, he's around, and he's trying to do this for the youth of, or at least Oregon, but maybe the whole country. So anyway, he's friends with a lot of people, other young hams around the world too, by the way. So should I go ahead and start my?
Yeah, I think so. And then, well, I'll go ahead and I'll close the business part of the meeting, meeting, and then we'll go ahead and continue on with the educational piece. But as we like to always do for our presenters, we'll just put ourselves on mute as Scott goes, or our presenter will go on and present his topic. So thank you all.